Hello, what's up guys? Your boy DEMIURGE here and welcome to another load of a Nazarick video. And in today's video, we are going to be giving you guys the sneak peek episode 7, which is going to be featuring the new tank DEMIURGE. He will be our video today. We're going to talk about the tank DEMIURGE, the bleed character, the protection bleed control character. We are going to give you all the details, his translated kit, what he does. So I hope you enjoyed the video and let's begin. So basically we are going to show his stats. We're going to the summons and going to his character stats, and where he is, here he is. There is tank character. He is a protection, a bleed, and a control. He can protect your allies and inflict bleed and do some control. And we're going to explain all about that later on. So basically, this is his stats right here. He have an S on his HP, A on his defense, B on his speed, C on the attack, and A on a magical defense. So basically you have an S on HP and A defense and A magical defense, which is really good for a tank to have. He can be pretty tanky with his magical defense and also the defense as an A, and his HP is going to be an S, so this is pretty good. Sadly his speed is B, but that's okay, it's decent, at least it's not C. So this is his stats right here. At max it will be like this, but of course the final is going to be depend on your stats, your unleash, your account, and also if global changes this or they don't. So now we are going to start with his skills. I translated them right here, and we're going to start as usual with his passive. So his passive is he will increase his own HP by 12%, and at the beginning of the round he will attach blood to other friendly characters other than himself, which will be liquid condensation, and we are going to talk about that later on. And at 4-star he is going take the opportunity to attach blood clothing to other friendly characters. Blood clothing is it's above that will give you 2 layers right here that will give that injury relief increased, which means he will reduce the damage, the income damage of HP by 15%. And if you are injured a single time when the damage exceeds 50%, so for example you have an OTK team or any team that will do something that will exceed 50% of your HP, it consumes layer 1 in the state, and it will make him immune to excess damage. He will make you immune to the excess damage. And at 6 stars, if you have him 6 stars, blood clothing when consumed to excessive damage. If the attacker carries bleeding, so if the enemies has a bleed, it will be 50% plus 10% the attacker carries bleeding. The fixed probability of the number of layers you gain 1 blood clothing knot. The carrier can only trigger 3 times per round. So it's literally 60% when an attacker hits you will be carries bleeding. He will affect bleed on them, and it will add 1 layer to the blood clothing knot, which is this one, and it will only be triggered 3 times per 1 round. And now we will go at level 2. When your skill passive is level 2, when blood clothing are consumed to excessive injury, the carrier get blood sucking for 2 rounds. Blood sucking means lifesteal. It's above that 30% of the damage dealt is converted to health. Not the same blood sucking effect can be supremazed, so it cannot be taken off. He will literally give you 30% of the damage dealt that you deal the damage. 35 of your damage will be converted to health, so it's the same as lifesteal. And then at level 3 it will be 15%, 18% of increases on HP. And here at level 5, when consumed, he will increase the action bar by 10% for the team. So he actually can make you do a lifesteal. He gives you immunity and some HP damage reduced, and he also will increases the action bar by 10%. This is only his passive. Opportunity effective immediately at the beginning of the battle. So basically this will be at the beginning of the battle. And bleeding, the one that we talked about, which is right here, if the attacker carries bleeding, continuous damage 25 of the attack power of the person who was applied before the action. Inflict damage up to 10 layer, can be superimposed, so it can be stacked, that's what it means, and can be purified. So this debuff, they can purify it. It's not a debuff that cannot be purified, but it's pretty good and pretty helpful. This is his passive. Now we go for his first attack, his single target attack. He will deal 30% attack power to the main target and add 4% of its own HP to the physical injury. And after hitting, add 2 layers to the main target with a 100% basic probability. Flow blood lasts for 2 rounds. Flow blood is a bleed, like a bleed debuff, and it all the same as this. All his kit is about bleed, and it will do this stuff, and all his skills will be doing it. So this is the same one. And here deal 1 attack to the main target and the left and the right targets with 15% additional life, 2% worth of physical damage. So basically, if you already has like understood like I did, he basically needs a lot of HP, which explains why he's S on HP, and most of his kit is about consuming his own HP and doing some damage and applying some bleeds. And in here it will be 50% additional life and 2% worth of physical damage. At level 2 it will be more damage. In here it will be 4.5% instead of 4. In here it will be 5, and in here it will be 5.5, and here it's going to be 15, and here it's going to be 6%, and here it's going to be also 15. But in here, when you get it at level 5, after the second stage is hit, the target is hit with a 50% basic probability. Additional bleeding lasts for 2 rounds, so it will affect, you will give more bleeding to the enemy teams. And now we go for his second skill. His second skill is, the target has a basic probability of 30% plus 4%. The number of bleeding layer is attached and will last for 1 round. If the remake is successful, the Demiurge action will increase by 40% the action bar. So if the remake was successful with his second skill, he will increase his action bar by 40%. That is actually pretty good. And we're going to explain his debuff when we read here a little bit. Here is more probability, more, and here after hitting there is 100% probability of additional damage to the target, damage reduction that will last for 2 rounds, and it's here. So we're going to start about this one right here. Force the use of general attack to attack those who know each other and get cold after removal. Quiet lasts for 1 round, during which immunity is turned over if you are the leader. If it only affects its target selection. So basically you have to select a target and you will get cold on him, and also during which immunity is turned off. You will turn off the immunity, so they cannot have immunity. If they have immunity, like it's an immunity shutdown basically. And in here the damage reduction one, which is here. In a reduced state, the damage caused is reduced by 20%, similar to the reduced state like the highest. So basically it will reduce the damage income by 20%, and it will be the basic probability. It's going to be all about EP and ER. It's going to be the final probability. And now finally with his ultimate, the demon phases, wings of the tentacles. So basically he will deal 10% of 3 stages of attack power and 1.4% of own's HP to physical damage. So we all know now that he deals physical damage, and he consumes his own HP. How much max HP he has, it will make him do more damage, more physical damage. After each damage is hit, the target is attached with a basic probability at 45% that will inflict flow, and it will last for 2 rounds. Demiurge transforms into a winged form immune control, and protect us all body lasts for 2 rounds. So when he uses his ultimate, he will transform to be a winged, and he will be immune to control, so he cannot be controlled, and he will protect all the allies for 2 rounds. If the winged form, the skill is changed to Wings of Tentacles, which is going to be this one. And Wings of Touch deals 3 stages of attack power by 10%, add its own health to 1.4 physical damage. After each damage is hit, the basic probability is 45% to attach bleed for 2 rounds and no cooldown. So he will inflict bleeding to everyone because this is an AoE. He will also give bleed for 2 rounds. So as we can all see, he can protect us and he gives buffs, and he also can be a very good bleed character for your bleed meta. So I'm really looking forward for this character. At 5 stars, Wings of the Wrist or Wings of the Wrist. There's something before, like it's the first one with wings or without the wings. Skill release. After that, one's own life is restored by 6% to 2% bleeding of all targets, the sum of the number of layers calculated to up to 10 layers. So basically when you have him 6 stars, the all for sorry, for all the bleeds that the enemy has, the more bleed they have, the more he will restore his own HP. So he can restore his HP if he's 5 stars on the numbers of how much bleed they have, up to 10 layers, which means up to 10 stacks, to 10 stacks of bleed. And here it's the basic and the fixed explanation, and here the bleed that we all read about. And now for the level. When it's level 2, in the winged form there is a 50% fixed probability of after entering Demiurge assistance line counterattack. So there is a 50% that Demiurge will also counterattack when he gets attacked. And at level 3 this 11 it will be more damage, and at level 4 also more damage and more percentage to add the bleed, and at 5 it will be 1 minus cooldown. And now finally for his Arclight. His Arclight is going to be effect penetration is increased by 12% by 20%. It will increases your penetration, which means more. The penetration is all about more damage against the defense, so against tanks. 100% basic after attack skills probability attaches Iron Feather to the target for 2 rounds. Unable to purify, the target performs out of round actions, including coordination after fighting, chasing, counterattack, get 1 layer of bleeding, and immediately touch issue on an additional bleeding damage. The damage value is 50% of normal percentage. So basically, he will give you penetration, and he will also put an Iron Feather buff on you, and he will also perform a coordination after fighting, chasing. He will unable to purify all of these debuffs, and he will get 1 layer of bleeding on the enemies and immediately touch issue on additional bleeding damage. He will even do more bleeding damage on them. He will increase the bleeding damage, and the damage value is going to be 50% or of the normal percentage of their HP. And at maxed level it will be 100% instead of 50, and it's going to be 40% penetration, as we can see right here. So basically this is the tank Demiurge. Very OP character, very good character. As we all read, his stats is great, his kit is great, also his Arclight is good because it will gives you a very good amount of bleeding damage on the enemies, and it will also, as we explained, it will also increases your penetration. If it's max, it's going to be 40. If it's not, it's going to be 20. So basically a really good Arclight to have on him. So basically you need him and his Arclight for a 100 potential character. He is so strong. Until now in China they use him in some of PvE or PvP metas. And for PvE, he is so good and so strong and can help in a very good like in a lot of content, especially the demonic vendor, which you're going to need a lot of bleed characters, and you need the bleed team to actually get a good score for yourself, and other activity that will require a bleed team, because a lot of activities is going to be requiring a bleed team, a shock team, blah blah blah, like all this stuff. So he is basically a really good character. So I really advise on getting this character for your bleed meta a team, because he's going to be so strong and so good. He can protect you, he is going to protect you, and give you life steal, inflict a lot of bleed, make the bleed more. He will let you deal a lot of bleed damage, he will increases it, and he will also control the enemy and put some debuffs on them, and also make them not have an immunity, which is going to help you a lot. And that skit is really good on a tank, so he can tank you and he can also do a lot of stuff for you. Basically a very good character. Also, like having him on 4 stars is is decent. He doesn't need the 6 stars. You can have the 6 stars to have like we explained here. um, Let me shows you here at the 5 stars. Like he will literally he will increase his own, like he will restore his health when he hits. So it will be so useful. I'm not gonna say no, because he can actually lifesteal and take restore his HP for all the bleeding that they have, and he can add 10 layers on you. And in here as well, where was it? If he is 6 stars, as we expected here, the blood clothing will, when consumed, if the garment of the attacker carries bleeding, he will have 60% to inflict the bleed, like to do bleed damage on them, and he will also trigger it to 3 times per round. So it's going to be useful and good, but it's not a must. 4 stars is good enough to be good for you and to help you in your bleed teams, but if you want to make him 6 stars, it's all up to you. So basically, should you summon or not? Of course you should. Tank Demiurge is really good, helpful, and useful in a lot of content in PvP and in PvE as well. So he is very good to summon on. If you want to summon on him, go ahead and do it. I advise so. So that's it for the video, guys. This is Tank Demiurge. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope it helped. So thank you so much, guys, for watching the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Your boy Deterio was with you guys. Peace.